Good evening to you out there in internet land. I am back. 4 years after his release in comics, in 1943, Batman made it to the silver screen in Batman, simply titled Batman, a movie serial which starred Lewis Wilson as Batman, Douglas Croft as Robin, J. Carroll Naish as Tito Daka, Shirley Patterson as Linda Page. The film came out on July 16th, 1943. And being a movie serial, they were the TV shows of their days, usually 15 episodes in length. You had to catch one every week. They usually started before the movie started. And if you were consistent, you got to see the 15th episode for free. Well, being 1943 and World War II raging at the time, this was pretty much a World War II propaganda film portraying the Japanese in a very, very negative light. J. Carroll Naish, a Irish-American actor, plays Daka, the evil Japanese villain. And being also a propaganda film and the time period, some very bad things were said towards the Japanese in these movies. Either way, it's a fun little romp of a movie. First few episodes start off great, middle episodes drag, later episodes pick up and become watchable. This is a repeated formula of all serials of the time. It's always best to watch these things like one day at a time. Don't try to sit through a whole 3 hours of it. You will fall asleep. Well, how should I say this? The costumes were, well, it was a movie serial. Movie serials were always produced on the cheap, especially with Columbia Picture serials. The costumes looked like they came from Party City. And the sets were decent. I mean, they were still serials, so don't expect lavish movie sets. Well, this film serial also inspired the 1966 Adam West TV show, when it was aired in the 60s again in movie theaters and certain television stations. Lorenzo Semple Jr. and Bruce Greenwood, the producers of the Adam West TV show, saw the fan reaction towards it, and decided to make the Batman TV show based off the serial, with every episode ending with a cliffhanger. The movie proved popular enough that it made it that the studio, saw fit to make a sequel in 1949 called Batman and Robin. It starred Robin Lowry as Batman, Johnny Duncan as Robin, and Jane Adams as Vicky Vale. This was the first silver screen appearance of Vicky Vale. Jane Adams portrays Vicky Vale as, like she is in the comics, a go-getter female photographer. She's very attractive in that 40s kind of beauty. Very attractive woman. Well, it how should I describe this film or this serial? It seemed cheaper than the 1943 serial, if you can believe that. It seems like Wayne Manor, even though Wayne Manor in the 43 serial was pretty much a matte painting, in the 1949 serial, it looked like he was just living in a typical two-story suburban house. They didn't even put effort into it. The costumes still looked crappy, still looked like Party City gear. And the villain in this one was called the Wizard, a man who was trying to manipulate machinery around the world with some sort of ray gun of sorts. Well, it's also another of those movies where you don't want to sit through a whole 3 hours to watch it. It's best to see it in one day each. And just like most serials, also starts great off in the beginning, slow in the middle, kind of picks up and gets interesting at the end. Well, these movies were filmed in black and white, and unlike the 1943 serial, the 1949 Batman and Robin serial, the war was over, and there was no racism at all, but it was still kind of you would have to see this to just know and feel it. It's just one of those things one has to experience in their life. Both films are available online on YouTube, and both films were unique because since they're made on the cheap, there was no Batmobile. The 1943 serial relied on the 1939 Cadillac convertible. So top down, it was Bruce Wayne's personal car. Top up, it was the Batmobile. The 1949 serial relied on an older model, Mercury. It was a hard top. So it was one of those. There's really nothing much to describe with these movies. I recommend seeing it, but I do not recommend watching it in one binge watch. Just one episode a day, and thanks to the power of YouTube, you can speed up the slow parts. So, this is Ray signing off. Like and subscribe.